This is part one. The Evening World. This is Ivan O'Mara here again. It's Ivan O'Mara here again, okay? So for this video, will not be a read along of Lord of the Rings. I decided to do a video where I babble on for a good hour and 30 minutes and I talk about Sky Source as usual. I might talk a bit about the price for fame. I already made a video about that, but I might talk a bit about that. Talk about random things. Because it's more interesting. I thought it'd be cool to make a video. It's more interesting when I babble on, obviously. I know you Lord of the Rings fans love it when I read Lord of the Rings, but you gotta bear with me. Tomorrow I'll continue off chapter 7, but for today I don't feel like reading. I don't feel like reading Lord of the Rings today, so I decided I'd rather just make a random video and talk about random stuff like Sky Source as usual, because you guys love it when I talk about Sky Source, especially the Hollywood actors. The Hollywood actors love it when I talk about Sky Source because I'm their last beacon of hope, man. I'm their last hope to freedom, to making their millions and to be free. Obviously, there's no such thing. I'm gonna keep saying there is no such thing as freedom in Hollywood. In Hollywood, you're rich and a dirty slave. You're not free. In other words, Skysource is the only company in the Skysource is the only company in the film entertainment business that's independent from Hollywood that can compete with the Hollywood companies. Whereas no other system, like all the independent film studios, so the Canadian film companies, the British film companies, what I'm saying, Australian film companies, New Zealand film companies, all these independent networks, studios, none of them can compete with Hollywood. As for independent television shows, actors make like 50, 60, and the top ones get like a couple $100,000. None of them can compete with Hollywood. Hollywood's the only system whereby the actors can make their millions. Has no company no company in the film entertainment industry can compete with the Hollywood system except for Skysource. Skysource is the only company independent from the Hollywood system that could compete with the what with the Hollywood what with the Hollywood companies. When I mean compete, I mean really compete. Like Skysource will be paying the Hollywood actors more money than even Hollywood on average. As my company is the only company that's independent from the Hollywood system, which is better. So not only is my company bigger than the Hollywood companies, it's also independent from the Hollywood system. Hence, the actors can now get their freedom. They don't have to bow to the system. And for my company, there's no such thing as dirty business, as everything is clean for my company. Because I'm not a fan of dirty business. There's nothing worse than being a dirty businessman. I'm not gonna have these actors pay a price to be in my fucking movie. No, man. I'm gonna give them make. It's not hard to be a clean business person. I'll grant them their free clean millions. All I ask is that you deliver the best performance for me on screen. And because I'm paying you your free millions, these actors are gonna work even double harder for me, obviously. Because I granted them fame and fortune and freedom, hence you're getting the best. You not only got a fat paycheck in the bank and you got nice perks, you're spoiled. You also got your freedom and you got the best of both worlds. These actors are going to work even double harder for me than what they do in Hollywood. As I guarantee, when the actors work in Hollywood, a lot of them are very depressed and miserable because while they're working, they're dirty slaves. Obviously, they're getting their millions, but they're doing dirty shit to get that money. And so they're going to work hard for you because they sign contract, but chances are they're not going to work as hard. Whereas Hollywood actors work their asses off when they film because they sign a contract and they're getting paid a lot of money. But because they don't have freedom, they're not going to work as hard compared to my movie. Whereas for my movie, the Hollywood actors are actually going to work double harder for me because I'm paying them their free, clean millions, man. There's nothing better than making free, clean millions at the same time you have your freedom. You're getting the best of both worlds. You have freedom at the same time you're rich. You got a nice fat check in the bank. And these actors are going to work double harder for me, obviously. So for this video, I'm not going to do my read-along of Chapter 7. I'll do my read-along of Chapter 7 tomorrow. Obviously, I'll do my read-along of Chapter 7 tomorrow. So sorry, Lord of the Rings fans, you gotta bear with me. Today, I just don't feel like reading Lord of the Rings. I decided to take a little break. Tomorrow, I'll be continuing, October 1st, I'll be continuing what? My Chapter 7 read-along in the House of Tom Bombadil. And early this month, I'll make that Sooner Shark Street. I thought of making it today, but today I'll just babble on, talk about Sky, so it's all the usual stuff. It's interesting when I babble on, and then sometime early October I'll make that Swimming with Sharks video. You're looking at a very interesting video for that. I'll probably do it the day after tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll continue my Lord of the Rings read along of Chapter 7, in the House of Tom Bombadil. And the day after that, or 2 days after that, I'll make that Swimming with the Sharks video. You're looking at a very interesting video for that. I'm gonna babble on for a good hour. I might show you pictures of the 100, the usual pictures I show you, right? The 100 million Ruth Icano, the office I'm gonna build, the office for my special effects team, my yacht, my $35 million yacht, my $70 million jet, all that stuff. And then for the last like 30-40 minutes, I will delve deep in depth. I'm gonna delve really in depth about the topic of Amazon. How Amazon gets a flat 40%. They don't get any more than 40%. I'm gonna call it the big deal in the documentary because me and my wife are signing a huge multi-billion dollar deal with Amazon. Because me and my wife are gonna make like 3.7 billion off the movie. Like you're looking at a good like 6 billion. I don't know, 6.5 billion in profit, man. That's split 60-40 when the Skies are down. If I don't sell my posters. If I don't sell my posters separately and I don't have subtitles, I just have English, you're probably only looking at a good like 3 billion in sales, 3 billion in profit, something like that, 3.5 billion profit. If I sell my posters with my movies, if I sell my posters with the movies and not separate from the movies, and I don't have subtitles in different languages, me and my wife will only make like $2.3 billion off the movie and posters. Whereas if I have it in different subtitles like French, Spanish, Russian, Chinese, especially China. China's a huge market. Japanese, South Korean, you know what I'm saying? A couple languages, a good like 6 to 10 languages. Me and my wife are going to make like 2.8, almost $3 billion off the movie and a good like 800, $1 billion off the posters. I don't know, 700 million to $1 billion off the posters. Hence why I want to sell. China is a huge market for movies. Hence why and Amazon's gonna tell me and my wife, look, I recommend you sell the posters separately from the movies. That way you make more money, obviously. And I recommend you have your movie come in a few subtitles for languages, obviously. Like, especially China. China is a huge market, and also the French world too, like France, Quebec. A lot of people in Quebec don't speak English. Quebec is pretty bilingual. A lot of people in Quebec speak English. Like Elmer, Quebec is pretty much half French, half English. A lot of people in Elmer, Quebec speak English also. But in Gatineau and like Hull and those places, a lot of people don't speak English. And Quebec is a huge market for what? The French speaking world's a big market too. Hence why I'm going to release it in French subtitles for those people who don't speak English. They can watch it in French subtitles, obviously. You might hear some noise. And it's me and my wife are going to make what? Me and my wife are going to sign. I'm going to call it the big deal. So whenever me and my wife, Amazon flies to my office, because I'll just have Amazon fly to my office. Because it's my movie, it makes sense. You have Amazon fly to my office. It's much easier, as I don't want to be flying all the way to Amazon in the States. No. I'll fly the CEOs on my private jet. There's a good chance the Amazon CEOs have their own. There's a good chance I'll fly them on my private jet, the CEOs. Jeff Bezos stepped down as CEO, so I don't know if he'll be on the jet. I don't know if he'll be in the meeting. There's a good chance he will be in the meeting, obviously. Yeah, there's a good chance he will be in that room. Even though Jeff Bezos stepped down as CEO, because it's his company, there's a good chance he might be in that room. I don't know if he'll be in that room. It might be, but all I know is that the people, the front office of Amazon, I'm gonna fly a couple of their CEOs. I only need to fly a couple people. They're gonna be flown to my office. Again, the doctor will be filming this, and me and my wife are gonna negotiate our own contracts. So not only do the actors negotiate their own contracts, me and my wife will be negotiating our own contracts. I'm gonna call it the big deal. So even though these Hollywood actors are signing massive deals, they're signing big multi-million dollar deals, the money that I'm paying them is pocket, is chump change compared to how much money me and my wife are going to make. Hence why I'm going to call it the big deal on the documentary, the big deal. For every movie project, Amazon gets flown to my office and me and my wife sign that contract. Because not only are the actors signing their contracts, me and my wife are signing our own contracts because we're the lead of all our movies. Well, for Zanus, I'm the lead, whereas my wife is a supporting major character. But for all my other movies, me and my wife are the lead characters. Like, they're unique. VJ is a lead. I'm more of a supporting character. I'm the lead too, but VJ is going to be the main lead for their unique, obviously. As Darn is like the main character. But Josh is also a major character too, obviously, as well as his best friend Jake, who is KJ Apa, obviously. And KJ Appa's lucky; he's a lucky chosen one for my movie, obviously. As he's, in my opinion, he's perfect for the role of my best friend Jake. And he will also beg his ass off for me and my wife to resign him once filming their unique's finished. Obviously, Ivan, man, I just want to work for you, man. Your company's so much better than Hollywood. I have my freedom. I got paid a lot of money. I got my freedom. I just want to experience success and fame with you. I don't want to go to Hollywood. Hollywood fucking sucks compared to your company. You know what I'm saying? And all the actors who work for all my movies are all gonna beg, man. Even though they know they're gonna have pretty success, either very successful or pretty successful careers in Hollywood, they'd rather experience that success with Ivan and Vijay than be the side attention and go back to being a dirty slave in Hollywood and make your dirty millions. So even though they're gonna be successful in Hollywood, they're gonna go back to being dirty slaves and making their dirty millions, as they'd rather work for me, obviously. They don't want to be the side tension. They don't want to be left behind, obviously. But going back to the deal, Amazon will be flown to my office, and me and my wife will be negotiating with Amazon. I'll have my legal advisor and accountant with me. I want my accountant with me to make sure they don't rip me off. And I'm going to have my legal advisor with me to go over the contract with them. So the CEOs of Amazon will most likely bring a lawyer with them, obviously. And I have my own lawyer, which is my legal advisor. He's going to carefully go over the contract to make sure Amazon does not screw me over, man. Because contracts are very, very complex to understand. Hence why you need to hire a legal advisor to help you with all that. Because sometimes with contracts, they can screw you over. You got to be careful. I'm going to say, look, Skysource gets 60% of all the profits. Amazon gets 40% of all the profits. Make sure you save 40% of all the profits. That way they don't screw you over. Never do a deal where you get like 40% of the nets or 60%. Never do net deals. No. 40% of all the profits, 60% of all the profits. And make sure you write in flat. Amazon gets a flat 40%, Skysource gets a flat 60%. That way they don't breach a deal. Hence why you need to bring a legal advisor. I need to have my legal advisor in that room with me. So the CEOs will be my nice luxurious boardroom, and we're gonna sign that contract. So Amazon signs their big contract because they're my big distributors, obviously, and me and my wife sign our fat contract because me and my wife are gonna be the leads of our movies, obviously. Hence we need to sign our own contract too, obviously. And Amazon will be paying us when the Blu-ray 4K Blu-ray movies are sold on Amazon and the posters. Amazon, just like for Lulu, PayPal sends me monthly checks. For Amazon, they'll be sending me and my wife monthly checks, obviously. Which is something called Amazon Pay. Amazon will be paying us through Amazon Pay. But I told you, I don't want them taking a percentage of any of the payments like PayPal is for my book sales. PayPal's taking like 3.9% of all the royalties. Hence, they're going to make like $400 million. I don't want you doing that for my 4K Blu-ray movie sales. I'm going to tell Amazon that. You get your flat 40%. The deal is you get your flat 40%, I get my flat 60%. You don't take a percentage for the payments. You get your flat 40%, I get my flat 60%. If you breach the deal, I'm going to terminate the contract with you and I'll release my movie online. You're missing out on billions. Amazon, if I found out Amazon breached the deal, I would terminate the contract with them and I would release my movies online for all my other movies. And Amazon will be missing out on the billions. Hence, they won't terminate the contract, obviously. Hence why you need to have a legal advisor with you to make sure Amazon does not rip you off. And make sure Skysource does not rip Amazon off too. As both parties cannot reach a deal. Skysource gets a flat 60%, no more than 60%. Amazon gets a flat 4%. They don't take, I'm going to tell legal advisors to put this in the contract. You do not take a percentage of any of the payments. I'm going to be very strict, obviously. And my wife will be even greedier than me because my wife is a Hollywood chick. And I told you, me and my wife are going to make like $3.8 billion off the. If I release the posters separately, which I will, and I put my movie in a couple different languages of subtitles like Chinese, French, Spanish, Russian. You know what I'm saying? Japanese. Japan's a good market too, right? Japanese, Korean, a couple languages. Me and my wife are gonna make like $3 billion off the movie, and like $800 to $1 billion. I don't know, $800 million off the posters. The posters are because not everyone around the world will buy the posters. There's some people who might not buy the posters, but a good chunk of the world will buy the posters. But hence why what? Me and my wife are gonna make a lot of money, man. Amazon will make like 5 billion, 2.6 billion. Me and my wife are gonna make like 3.6, 3.7 billion off the movies and the posters, man. We're gonna make a shitload of money, man. Give me a second. I'm gonna shut the door. You can hear the laundry, right? Right. Yeah. Sorry, I have to shut the door, the laundry room door. I don't want you hearing the laundry. Obviously. Yeah, man. That's how top notch of a company, a Sky Source company, you ever gonna own. You're looking at a bigger company than all these Hollywood companies. So not only is my company independent from Hollywood, which is nice, independent from the wicked Hollywood system, it's also a bigger company than all these Hollywood companies, bigger than Disney, Warner Bros, Universal, Paramount, Lionsgate, Fox. Well, Disney bought Fox, but it's bigger than Fox. Sony, Columbia Pictures, Summit Entertainment, all these big companies, man. You know what I'm saying? All these big companies. Sky Source will be bigger than all these companies. And it's not only bigger than all these companies, it's independent from the Hollywood company too. It's independent from the Hollywood companies, obviously, which is better because my company is not part of the Hollywood system. It's independent from the Hollywood system, which is better, obviously. That's how top notch. Trust me, once these Hollywood actors experience my private jet, you know what I'm saying? They experience the advanced payment system. They experience my luxury office, my luxury boardroom. They're gonna be like, when they see my luxury office and they see my luxury jet, they're gonna be like, holy shit, man. This guy's just a top notch company. It's better than Hollywood. As in Hollywood, the executives don't even own luxury offices. They own nice offices, but they're not gonna be owning offices on the same level as my office. It's looking at like a high tech, like super advanced, futuristic office, man. A nice like office I'm gonna own. You're looking at a top notch company. I'm gonna own a nice $70 million jet. I'm flying all my actors privately. Whereas in Hollywood, they most likely fly the actors commercial most of the time. Sometimes the actors may get flown privately, I'm pretty sure. But for my company, everyone gets flown privately to sign the contracts. All the crewmen, all the actors, they all get flown on my jet. I'll fly in a good 10 people at a time. 10 people at a time on my jet, and they're going to be a limo driver takes them to my office, which is nice, a nice perk. Don't forget the doc. You get a professional doc team filming you, indie style camera doc team filming you, indie style camera, right? And the actors are going to be a limo driver will take them to my office. It's just going to be top notch. So what I'll do for the actors when the actors, so the first year my secretaries, their agents are gonna, the actors are all gonna once my company's open for business, the Hollywood actors agents are gonna be called, the ones chosen, especially the actors chosen, their agents are gonna be calling my office, obviously, because they want that job so bad. Obviously, they want to be my movie so bad. Their agents are gonna call my office, and my secretaries will tell their agents, "Congrats, you know what I'm saying? Congrats, your client has been what? Your actor has been chosen, has been cast for the role, obviously." And then secretaries will give them instructions. Okay, next year, Ivan will fly the actors in to sign the contracts. Obviously, fly you in to sign the contracts. The actors will get their script. You know what I'm saying? Someone will. What I'll do when the actors arrive to the office, I'm gonna hire someone to take their measurements for the clothes. So when they arrive to the office, someone will tell them to when they arrive to the office, I'll hire someone to take all their measurements for their clothes. Because if you want to sponsor the actors for the clothing, for shoes and stuff, you need to take their measurements. So I'll hire someone to take all their measurements. Only the main actors, the main actors who are going to be featured on the ad shoots. I'll hire someone to take their measurements for their shoes, what size shoes they have, their waist size. You know what I'm saying, shoulder, all that stuff because I'm gonna sponsor them with suits and clothing. Hence, you need to take their measurements. Then once they take their measurements, they sit down on the couch, a nice like comfy couch. The secretaries will tell them Ivan and Vija will see you soon. And what I'll do is what I'll do is I'll hire a psychologist. The actors are gonna go in that room one-on-one with a psychologist. I'm not gonna have a psychologist interview the actors with me and my wife and all of them in the room. No, I want it to be personal. I believe you should keep it personal. The actors are going to be in that room one-on-one with the psychologist. The psychologist is going to ask them all these questions. These actors are going to be very, very nervous. They're going to be like, holy shit, man. Like, this guy's just a top-notch company. They're going to be nervous, you know what I'm saying? Because they also badly want to be in my movie, obviously. And it's like, when the psychologist asks them all these questions, they're going to be like, holy shit, like, how scary is Aerotet, man? And as a rule, all the actors who work for my company have to see the concept art of Aerotet. You have to see the contract. And once the actors, what I'll do is the actors get interviewed by a psychologist first. Then they go into the room and then they sign and they sign the contracts, obviously, right? So the actors, so someone will take their measurements when they arrive to the office. As soon as they go to the office, someone will say, "Okay, I want to take your measurements." Someone takes all their measurements for their shoes on stuff. The people writing all the information, they give it to my 7 team. That way, the 7 team knows what sizes they need for the clothes on stuff, obviously. And then they sit down on the couch, and then one by one, they'll be interviewed by a psychologist first. And then once they get interviewed by psychologists, they're gonna be sent to the boardroom. It'll be me and my wife, the legal advisor, accountant, trainer, and nutritionist. They're gonna be in the boardroom, and the actors are gonna be in the room negotiating the contract, obviously. And the doctor will be filming us. The actors are all gonna be very nervous, man. They're gonna be really, really nervous because they know me and my wife are the big boss now, and they're gonna be very, very nervous because they want to be in my movie so bad. Especially when a psychologist asks them all these questions, they're gonna be scared. Oh my god, what if I ask the wrong question? Not even doesn't cast me anymore for the movie, man. That's how tough. That's how bossy my wife are gonna be, man. It's gonna be so weird because all these actors I looked up to in my life, like Don Cheadle, Idris Elba, these are pretty big actors. Zaynus doesn't have any big stars, but I have a few small A-listers in my movie, hence they're pretty big stars, obviously. But I don't have any big actors in my Zaynus movie. As in my opinion, for a medieval movie, I'm not a fan of casting big stars for those movies. As most medieval movies, you don't have big stars in the movies, obviously. Like Lord of the Rings had no big name stars. All those actors none of them were big name stars when they filmed the movie, obviously. None of them were. There were some small A-listers, but none of them were big A-list actors. That's my point. Hence why for Zaynus, I'm not casting any big A-list actors for that movie because I can't afford to. At the same time, I prefer to have lesser known stars for that movie, obviously. The only big names for Zaynus are like Don Cheadle, Idris Elba, Andy Serkis. You know what I'm saying? Those are like the only 3 like big actors for my movie. Whereas everyone else, they're not as big actors, obviously. Like that what's his name again? Digimon Hansu, whatever his name is. The actor chosen for casting he's a small A-lister, but he's kind of like, he's not that big. He's not that really big of a star, obviously. Because I don't have any big star. The actor for Tacitoni is John Boyega. He's a rising star. None of the actors I have chosen are big what? The actor for Belle, Ariana Grande, she's a really big singer. She's the biggest out of all those, out of everyone. She's the biggest. She's worth a lot of money, hundreds of millions. She's big. She's a big A-list singer, but she's like a B-list actor. Hence why I'm paying her like $5 million. She's like the biggest actor in my whole movie, pretty much. But as an actor, she's a B-list actor, but she's a big A-list singer. Hence why she's worth a value of like $5 million for my movie, obviously. So for Zaynus, I don't have any big. I don't have any big what. I don't have any big, like really big stars. Well, for the organization movie, I'm actually going to hire like big stars. I'm going to have 3 big stars for my movie. You might hear some noise upstairs. I'm going to hire a good 3 big stars. There's a good chance Scarlett Johansson, Samuel Jackson, and Keanu Reeves will be the 3 big stars for that movie. I don't have those actors chosen, but there's like a 75% chance I'm going to pick them. I'll have my script developers look at the reels, and they're going to have to choose who they want on board. But if I want those 3 actors on board, I'll tell my script developers, hey, cast these 3 people for the role. There's a good chance I'm gonna have those 3 actors. So the 3 big A-list actors for Organization movie, there's a good chance it might be Samuel Jackson, Keanu Reeves, and Scarlett Johansson, obviously. The problem is you're gonna have to watch out how much, because they're gonna be affecting my budget. Like, hence why I'm gonna put like $680 million towards the movie to create more room to pay to pay those actors if they're chosen for my Great Escape movie, obviously. So Samuel Jackson's worth like, I don't know, $250 million. So for him, you can pay him like $38 million. I'll pay him a nice $50 million bonus if he's cast, and I can pay him a $23 million salary at start production, which is nice, obviously. And he gets his perks, he gets his 3,400 gas card. You know what I'm saying? If he's chosen, it's not 100% I'm going to choose him, and he'll get his what? He'll stay at a hotel. Obviously, I don't know if I'll have Samuel Jackson fight for the movie. I'll just have him be the big boss. Give me a sec here. No, they haven't called me yet. Yeah. Yeah, so Samuel Jackson, if he's chosen for my Great Escape movie, I won't have him fight. I'll just have him be because by then he'll be old, man. He'll be like in his early 80s. So for Samuel Jackson, I'll just have him be the big boss. I'll have him be the big boss of the company if he's chosen, if he's hired. I'll have him be one of the big bosses. And the actor, Paul Bettany, I'll have him be the recruiter, and I'll have him be one of the bosses too, obviously. But Samuel Jackson, I'll have him be the big boss, as he has that look, that face, and it's especially if someone's old. In most movies, when there's a big boss, usually the guy's very old, obviously. Hence why Samuel Jackson's really good for that part, obviously. And Scarlett Johansson, Keanu Reeves, if they were hired, I'll have them be one of the trainers. So they can be one of the trainers for the company when they train me and my wife. And I'll also have them be one of the hitmen. Keanu Reeves will be in his late 60s by then. Because for the organization movie, you're looking at like 2032, man. So you're looking at a good like 10, 11 years from now. So Keanu Reeves will be pushing 70. He'll be a bit older, but when you're in your late 60s, you're still pretty strong. Hence, obviously. So if someone like Keanu Reeves were in my movie, I'd pay him like $40 million. Because he's worth more than Samuel Jackson, he's worth a bit more money. I'd pay him $40 million, obviously. And Scarlett Johansson, she's worth like 100-something million, but because women don't get paid as much as a man, she's for a woman actor, she's very, very big, obviously. But I can't afford to pay three people like 38. It's a huge con on the budget, man. For her, I can pay her like a $14 million bonus and like a $20 million salary. You gotta watch for your budget. But even though she's a really, really big woman actor and women don't get paid as much as a man, I can't afford to pay her like $38 million. It's too much. If she were in my movie, my Great Escape movie, I would pay her like a $14 million bonus. Because she's worth under $200 million, even though women get paid way less than men, I'll pay her like a $14 million bonus and like a $20 million salary, which is nice. $34 million is nice, obviously. And there's a 75% chance I'm going to hire those three people for my Great Escape movie, obviously. And then you have Paul Bettany. He'll be the recruiter. I'll have him be one of the bosses. You also have that actor, Company Old Man. I'll have him be one of the hitmen. That's why you're looking at the best. You're looking at one of the best movies ever made, man. And don't forget, all my movies, you're looking at like 4-hour plus movies, man. Like for the Great Escape movie, you're looking at like a 4-hour movie. For They're Unique, you're looking at like a 3-hour movie, man. All my movies are going to be long. As I'm not a fan, for an Ivan the Region movie, you have to have it long. As 2 hours is nothing for an Ivan the Region movie. The Great Escape movie, you're looking at like a long, like 4-hour movie, man. I want it to be a good like 4-hour movie minimum. A good 4-hour movie. So I might have it come in 2 discs. Or I can have it come in 1 disc. I don't know, we'll see. But I might have it come in 2 discs, 2 parts. Or I can just have it come in 1 part. If it's a 4-hour movie, most likely it will come in 2 parts. You're looking at a long, like 4-hour movie. You're looking at one of the best. You're looking at one of the best movies ever made, man. Not as good as Zanus. Hence why the actors chosen for Zanus are lucky, because you're looking at little devils on the screen. They're gonna be fighting little devils on the screen. But Great Escape movie, you're looking at one of the best movies ever made, man. And They're Unique, you're looking at one of the best romance movies ever made. And KJ Appa's chosen for that movie. He'll be my best friend. He'll be playing the role as my best friend Jake. And for that movie, I want him to have an American accent. I don't want him to have his New Zealand accent. Because he's New Zealand, obviously. He's New Zealand. He's from New Zealand. But in Rivendell, he has his American accent. He knows how to do a good American accent. And so for that movie, I want him to have an American accent, obviously. The American accent, obviously. You're looking at an amazing movie for They're Unique, obviously. And for the Hidden Vampire movie, there's a good chance I'll hire someone like Will Smith for that movie, obviously. There's a good chance. 70%. It's not. I don't have him chosen. But there's a 70% chance I might have Will Smith chosen for the Hidden Vampire movie. I'll have him be the captain on the boat. And he'll be surviving on the island with me and my wife. Will Smith will be in his early 70s by then. But when you're in your early 70s, you're still pretty strong. So I'll have him be one of the captains on the boat. And he'll be surviving on the island with me. So think something like King Kong and like 30 Days of Night. You know the movie 30 Days of Night with Josh Hartnett? Josh Hartnett, whatever his name is? Think something like that. You have these vampires living on this island. And me and my wife, the captain, and all the people who are on the boat. I'll have a few couples on the boat and like 2 captains. We're surviving on the island, and we have to fight off all these vampires. And then in Los Angeles, our friends and family are doing investigation to wonder where the ship crashed, the boat crashed, and all that stuff. Looking at an amazing movie for that. And that movie I'll make for a nice $600 million. But for that movie, if I cast Will Smith for that movie, If I cast Will Smith for that movie, I might cast one big guy, and I might have like I might cast one big guy, and I'll cast like 5 small A-listers. If I cast one big actor like Will Smith, I can even pay him $50 million for the movie. Only if I cast one guy, obviously. If I cast one big A-lister, and I can balance it with smaller A-listers, like 5, 6 smaller A-listers, pay those 3 of them like $9 million, and pay one like 15, and one like 12, 11 million, whatever it is. And when you balance your budget. But if I have more than what? If I have like 2 or 3 big guys, I can pay Will Smith like $40 million for the role and everything, which is nice, obviously. If you have multiple big A-listers, the max I can go is like 40 million, man. Because you got to really watch for your budget, really it's affecting your budget. Whereas if you're only casting one big guy, you can even pay him 44, 45. The only way I'll ever pay someone 44, 45, 46, 47, 50 million is if I'm casting one big guy. Whereas if I'm casting multiple guys, you got to balance it. One you pay like 38. The other one you pay like 34, 30. You know what I'm saying? 25, 24, depending on who the guy is, how much he's worth and all that stuff. And then one guy you can pay him like $40 million. So you got to really watch for your budget. But so worst comes to worst, you put more money into the budget, obviously. That way you have more room to pay these people. Because none of them are worth a piece in your royalties. But you have to always be careful about your budget, man. You don't want to overpay. You don't want to. If you have 3 people, 3 big A's, you can't pay one guy $50 million. It's too much on your budget. You have to pay one guy like $38 million. The other one depends on how much he's worth. You pay. Hence why for me, I'm gonna have a rule. I'm gonna tell my 17 when you cast 3 big A-listers, if the guy's worth more than $200 million, don't cast any more than 2. Otherwise, those guys are really gonna affect your budget. You can cast 2 that are worth over $200 million, and then the one that's left over, make sure he's worth under $200 million. That way I can pay him. I can be consistent with my payments for the payment structure, obviously. Let's show my account here.